All right, let's dive in. We're headed to Shelby, North Carolina today.
Oh, this one's going to be good.
Yeah, 9-year-old Asha Degree, Valentine's Day 2000, vanished from her home, just gone.
The early hours of Valentine's Day, yeah.
We've got news articles, we've got FBI updates, even some witness statements, so we're going to see what we can make of all this.
Sounds like a lot to unpack.
Yeah, almost 25 years this case has been stumping people.
And what gets me about Ash's case is it's not your typical missing child story. There's eyewitnesses, items found years later. It's got all these twists and turns.
Okay, so let's go back to that night, February 13th, 2000. Pretty normal Sunday for the Degree family, right?
Yeah, totally normal. Family time, church, kids tucked in early.
Then, bam, power outage.
Right around midnight. Car accident nearby knocked out the power in the whole neighborhood.
I bet that added to the whole spooky vibe. It was already a stormy night.
Oh, yeah. Stormy, raining.
I think that played a role in her disappearance.
Well, that's what makes this case so tough. Asha's dad, Harold, he checked on her and her brother a couple of times that night.
Like, just to make sure they were okay with the power out.
Exactly. Once around 12:30, again at 2:30.
And she was asleep both times.
Sound asleep.
So sometime between 2:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m., this little girl packs a bag, grabs a book, and just walks out.
Into a raging
Even
storm.
9-year-old, I can't even imagine.
It's chilling.
And she packs a bag. Some clothes, that book. Why?
Was she running away? Did someone tell her to pack?
Questions they've been trying to answer for years.
Years.
Oh, and then there's the witnesses, people driving along Highway 18.
In the pouring rain. Between 3.35 and 4.15 in the morning.
See a kid walking along the road?
One driver even tried to stop and help.
Yeah.
The child, they think it was Asha, ran into the woods.
Okay, so she's definitely out there, middle of the night on that highway, and then poof.
Well, the next morning, family realizes she's gone. Obviously, panic sets in. Massive search kicks off. Police, dogs, hundreds of volunteers. Over 9,000 man-hours went into that search.
Wow. Can you imagine that many people looking desperately for any sign?
Heartbreaking. And the rain, it really messed things up. Washed away any scent trails for the dogs.
So what did they find? Anything at all?
They did find something. Asha's yellow hair bow.
Her hair bow?
Yep. In a shed near Highway 18.
Okay, so we know she was there, but that doesn't tell us much. Anything else in the shed?
They found a pencil, a green marker, candy wrappers,
Okay.
and a photograph.
A photograph.
Another young girl.
Another girl. Oh, that is creepy. They think she's connected to Arthur somehow.
Nobody knows.
That's so unsettling, just finding your missing child stuff with a random photo of another kid.
Fuel for all kinds of theories over the years.
For sure. And then
18 months.
silence.
Case goes cold.
Until,
Construction workers.
what did they find?
Asha's backpack.
Buried.
Buried. 26 miles away.
Wow.
Burke County.
Wait, so someone took her?
Looks like it. This wasn't a kid just wandering off.
Burke County. That mean anything.
It was off an access road. So
Yeah.
someone who knew the area. Maybe trying to hide it.
What was in the backpack?
New Kids on the Block t-shirt.
Huh?
And a Dr. Seuss book. McKelligott's Pool.
Hold on, McKelligott's pool.
Neither of those things belonged to Asha. The book was from her school library.
So, did she check it out? Or did someone put it
More questions than answers, right?
What?
It's like every little detail just makes this case weirder.
This is already so much to think about.
Oh, we're just getting started. So that backpack, turning up miles away, really threw things for a loop.
Yeah, like you said, not your typical missing child case.
Right. And then years go by, a few tips here and there, but nothing solid. And then 2015.
That's when the green car tip came in, right?
Exactly. A witness comes forward.
Yeah.
So they saw a young girl, matched Asha's description, getting into a car the night she disappeared.
Not just any car, a very specific car.
A green Ford Thunderbird or a Lincoln Mark IV. I mean, those aren't cars you see every day.
Definitely not. And this witness remembered that detail after 15 years.
That's what stood out to investigators. It's not like describing a Honda Civic, you know. This was specific.
Yeah, so they took that seriously.
Oh, absolutely. The FBI reopened Asha's case in 2016.
Yeah.
Released pictures of this stuff from her backpack, too, hoping it would jog someone's memory.
The Dr. Seuss book, the New Kids on the Block shirt.
Yep. Someone out there had to recognize them.
And maybe that person knew something about Asha.
Right. Even the smallest detail. You never know what could be the missing piece.
It's amazing how those little things can be so important. But before we get too far ahead, gotta talk about Asha's parents, Harold and Aquila Degree.
Their strength is incredible.
I can't even imagine what they've been through.
Organizing walks, setting up a scholarship in her name, going on TV.
Right.
keeping her story alive, never giving up hope.
And the community, too. Shelby really rallied around them.
Oh, yeah. Shelby Sweetheart, that's what they call her. Vigils, searches, sharing information. It's really something.
The power of community, right. But those recent developments you mentioned, things take a darker turn there.
Yeah, this year, search warrants were issued. And some of the information in those warrants, well, it's leading investigators to believe that Asha might have been killed.
Killed.
Uh-huh.
So they're not looking for her alive anymore.
It's looking more and more like that, unfortunately.
What made them shift gears like that?
Remember those 2 black garbage bags? The ones found along Highway 18 back in 2001?
Yeah, those had some of her stuff in them, right?
Her book bag, some of her clothes. Remember, that's what confirmed she'd been moved, taken somewhere.
Right, right.
Well, they did some new forensic testing on those bags, on the stuff inside. Got some DNA.
From the bags?
They were able to link DNA to 2 people.
2 people. And do they know who they are?
One of them was a man named Russell Underhill. He passed away in 2004, unfortunately. The other sample, a hair, it was on Asha's undershirt that matched DNA from Roy Deadman's daughter.
Wait, Roy Deadman, wasn't he in one of those tips from a prison inmate or something?
You got it. Back in 2020, an inmate said they overheard someone talking about killing Asha, and Roy Deadman's name came up.
But back then they didn't have anything to go on, right?
Not really, no.
But now they have DNA on the bags with Asha's stuff.
It's a pretty big development. And it gets more interesting. Investigators found out that Russell Underhill was actually under the care of Roy Deadman back in 2000. Underhill was living in a place that Deadman ran, and Deadman was even listed as his emergency contact.
So the 2 guys whose DNA was found on Asha's things, they knew each other.
They definitely had a connection.
And wait, that 2015 tip about the green car?
Yep. They towed a car from Deadman's property that fits that description.
Are they saying he did it then? Roy Deadman.
Well, the warrants don't say that outright, but they do call Roy and his wife Connie suspects in the case. Investigators think that because of their connection to Underhill and the car, they would have been involved somehow.
Involved in what? Asha's disappearance.
They think the Deadmans would have had to be involved in, well, what happened to Asha and then hiding her.
What about the daughter? Where does she fit in?
She was about 16 or 17 when Asha disappeared, according to the warrants. And somebody told investigators they saw Deadman's daughter driving a car like the one Asha was supposedly seen getting into.
So maybe she was the one who...
It's a possibility, for sure. But remember, nobody's been charged with anything yet, no arrests. The investigation is ongoing, and the Deadmans say they're innocent.
It's a lot to take in. Did those searches of Deadman's property turn up anything?
They didn't find any human remains, unfortunately.
But they did take a bunch of stuff from his property. Cameras, journals, clothing, even a rifle.
Hoping to find something, some kind of clue and all that. Exactly. They'll be analyzing all that evidence, talking to more people connected to the Deadmans and Russell Underhill. It's been a wild ride with this case. Who knows what's next?
It's kind of wild to think after 24 years, there's actually some movement in Asha's case.
It is. It really is.
And as much as it sucks to think she might not be alive,
Yeah.
at least they're finally looking in the right direction, maybe.
It shows you law enforcement, the family, the community, they never gave up. That's got to count for something.
Makes you wonder, though, why did it take so long? We had those garbage bags, the DNA, all that back in 2001.
Well, forensics, it's come a long way since then. What they can do now, it's light years ahead of what they could do 20 years ago.
So back then, they just couldn't get anything useful from those samples.
Pretty much.
That's crazy. It gives hope to other families out there, though, right? Even old cases, cold cases, there's always a chance something new will break it open.
Absolutely. Technology, it's always changing.
So you know what's always bugged me about this case?
What's that?
The motives. Like, why? Why would someone do something like this to a 9-year-old girl?
It's the biggest question, isn't it?
Asha, she was a good kid, loved by her family, no problems at school. There's no reason anyone would target her specifically.
Nope. None that we know of, anyway.
So was it random, wrong place, wrong time, or was there something more going on, something we haven't figured out yet?
It's the kind of thing that keeps you up at night, you know?
Yeah.
And what about that photo? The one in the shed with her hair bow? The other girl.
Oh, yeah, that was super creepy. Ever figure out who she was?
They released the photo a bunch of times over the years, but nobody's ever come forward.
Another dead end. But don't you think it's kind of weird that photo ended up in the same place as Asha's stuff?
It's definitely strange.
And the fact that she packed a bag, took some of her favorite clothes?
Makes you think maybe she was running away.
Right. But then again, a 9-year-old out in a storm,
Well,
walking along a highway in the middle of nowhere.
it's hard to believe she'd do that on her own.
Unless she was meeting someone she trusted, someone who maybe told her some story, promised her something.
Could be, but nobody's ever admitted to knowing her or talking to her that night.
So many questions. It's tough to wrap your head around it. Knowing Asha, her family, everything. Do you think she ran away? Or do you think someone took her? Why would a 9-year-old leave home in the middle of a storm? It just doesn't add up.
24 years,
Yeah.
and we're still trying to make sense of it all. Maybe these new leads will finally give us some answers.
Here's hoping. If anyone out there knows anything at all about Asha Degree, please contact the FBI. Their website is fbi.gov/degree.
There's a $45,000 reward.
Even if you think it's nothing, it could be the piece they need to solve this case. Asha's story, it reminds us that even in places that feel safe, bad things can happen. To anyone.
But it also shows us the power of hope. The love of a family, a community that never forgets. Asha Degree might be missing, but she's not forgotten. We won't stop searching.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening.